Good morning, viewers. Welcome yet to another edition of Morning News, where we bring you a rundown of what is in our local press and also what we have on our online news platforms. My name is Nicole Madziwa.
And I am Marvelous Chipagiri, and once again, welcome to Morning News, which is brought to you courtesy of TagMag TV. And in the daily news this morning, we have the headline, Rising Pressure Forces ED to Act.
And from the news day, we forgive Mugabe, coup leaders.
From the Herald, we have the headline, Zim To Present Human Rights Report to UNAU.
Still on the Herald, ZESA minister tussle over 400k US dollar debt.
Presidential scholarship bosses arrested.
Zim Belarus signed 350 million US dollar deals.
And remember, we'll also be bringing you the headlines from our online site, which you can access on www.technomag.co.zw and techmagtv.zw. techmag.tv.
So for the news in detail, we'll quickly go to the daily news, and it reads, Mugabe was now fellow combatant, says Mbeki. Do you want to take that one?
Former President of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, has paid glowing tribute to his Zimbabwean counterpart, Robert Mugabe, at a memorial organized by the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal, calling him a fellow combatant who had made a massive contribution to the liberation of South Africa. And this was said by Mbeki in Durban, where the ANC had held a memorial service for the former President Robert Mugabe.
Moving on to the news day, we forgive Mugabe coup leaders. I can't see. Please, can you? Thank you very much. So the story there reads, traditional leaders in Jimba yesterday said they had pardoned those who removed former President Robert Mugabe from power through a military coup in November 2017 to foster national healing. Speaking during a church service at the late Mugabe's home in Jimba, Chief Chisora Chikamba said it was important to let bygones be bygones, and I quote, I want to thank ZANU-PF. Yes, there are things that happened. There are indeed bad apples, but yes, we forgive you, he said.
Let bygones be bygones. What would Jesus do?
Jesus would take the high road. Wow. It must have been pretty awkward.
From the Herald, ZESA minister tussle over 400,000 US dollar debt. Local Government, Public Works and National Housing Minister July Moyo has denied owing the Zimbabwe Electricity Transmission and Distribution Company Private Limited over US 400,000 in unpaid electricity bills. The matter is set for pre-trial conference tomorrow before Justice Dube at the High Court in Harare. In his defendant's plea, Minister Moyo denies owing plaintiff $414,775.79, and that's in US dollars. So I'm sure we'll be giving you an update on what's happening with that case between ZESA and Minister Moyo.
Zim to present human rights report to UN and AU is another story from the Herald. And the story reads, Zimbabwe has made significant strides in promoting and protecting the rights of its citizens since 2007, in line with international agreements, and is due to present reports to the world and continental bodies for periodic review. So this is the one that the president is going to attend.
I'd love to hear his report. Zim Belarus signed US 350 million deal. Zimbabwe and Belarus yesterday signed deals worth 350 million US dollars as they stepped up efforts to enhance economic cooperation. President Mnangagwa witnessed the signing ceremony in Harare. 2 out of 6 agreements were signed last night, with the remainder still to be concluded. The outstanding agreements involve the construction of a power plant, transport, logistics, and development of agricultural projects.
Moving on to the Daily News. Court set to hear bid to nullify PG appointment. And the story there reads, the Constitutional Court is today set to hear an application filed by Harare lawyer Joshua Chirambwe, who is seeking to nullify Kumbirai Hodzi's appointment as substantive Prosecutor General of Zimbabwe after he allegedly failed interviews last year. President Emerson Mnangagwa, the Judiciary Service Commission, Chief Justice Luke Malaba, Justice Minister Ziyambi and Hodzi are cited as respondents in the application. Hodzi was among candidates that took part in public interviews last year to fill in the position of Prosecutor General. At that time, Hodzi, who had taken over from Ray Goba, who had resigned after facing a slew of charges, was acting Prosecutor General. Oh, so he failed the interviews, but then he was still appointed as the Prosecutor General, allegedly.
From the Daily News, local government proposes $6 billion budget for 2020. The local government ministry says it requires $6.8 billion in next year's budget to fund critical projects in housing, disaster management and water. Presenting the pre-consultation budget before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Local Government, Ministry's Principal Director Joseph Makayakora said the $6.8 billion would be spread across 8 programs. Makayakora complained that they barely got enough from the 2019 budget to finance key programs and projects, gave a breakdown of how the money they are pushing to be allocated in the next year's budget would be used. $6 billion.
So moving on, still on the Daily News actually, Madokero owners up in arms against developer. Yeah, people tend to get
Madokero
very...
is the area along Kirkman, on your right if you're coming from town.
From town, yeah. It's very nice houses that side. Okay, and the story reads, owners of Madokero Muse apartments in Harare are up in arms with their developer, Exodus and Company, after the firm demanded payments of mortgages in local currency at the ruling interbank rate of the United States dollar. The residents alleged the move violated the Finance Act and made all US dollar contracts entered into prior to February 22 redenominated into Zimbabwe dollar at a rate of 1:1. But can they do that though?
Madokero or the tenants, which one?
Madokero, it seems like they are like breaching the contract and the agreement. But anywho, but still I don't think they can do that, which is why people are pretty pissed.
Ex-ZBC bosses granted bail. Former Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation's ZBC Chief Executive Patrick Mavura and Human Resources Manager Benania Shumba were yesterday freed on 5,000 bail each. Mavura and Shumba are facing corruption charges. The state alleged the national broadcaster was prejudiced of over $340,000 during the GEO's tenure. So that's the Mavura story that we read. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Here's the update that the two were granted $5,000 bail each.
Cost of court marriages trebles is another story from the Daily News, and the story reads, marriage certificates have almost tripled in price. The cost of a marriage certificate, which was $35 at the time of registration, has shot up to $100. The increased charges, a 280% hike, will hit less well-off couples wishing to tie the knot. Oh. Wait. Which currency is this? Is this like, okay, of course, if it was US, they were going to write.
They can't charge US. There's a SIF 142 says
but still,
everything
how
will
much?
be paid in local currency. So
but yeah, how much is $100? Honestly, no, I know. Chero, any.
Okay, yesterday's rate was 16. So $100 is less than 10. It's less than $10.
Yes.
It's 100 bond.
100 bond, yeah.
It's less than $10. Most treat like cash bond to be like, it's like $10 US.
Yeah.
Cash bond. But if it's education swipe, it's less than $10 US. But my point is, shouldn't these things be done for close to free? For free?
I think it should be done for free. I mean, honestly.
But if people can afford to pay 4K, 5K,
The bowl. I mean, what is $100?
What is $100?
Right.
What is $100?
Yes.
Are you married? Do you want to go to court? But anyway, Harare water crisis gets dire, and this is the daily news. Zimbabwe's biggest city, Harare, is running down its water supply at the fastest rate on record, with at least two dams, Seke and Arava, drying up due to one of the worst droughts on record, the city's spokesperson Michael Chideme has said. Chideme said the city has been forced to decommission Prince Edward's water treatment works following the drying up of Seke and Harava dams. Officials predict some tips in Harare will soon run dry in a crisis that has brought to the fore the effects of climate change across the world.
It just gets worse and worse.
It's it's like living in Zimbabwe is an extreme sport.
It is.
Like on Monday you're skydiving, on Tuesday you're skiing, on Wednesday you're hiking, on Thursday is Formula One, on 5's the Dakar.
Okay, still on the daily news, warrant of arrest for Tabitha Khumalo. A warrant of arrest has been issued for MDC National Chairperson Tabitha Khumalo after she failed to turn up for a court appearance yesterday. Khumalo's lawyer, Godfrey Nyoni from Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, said her client could not come to court as she had traveled to South Africa on business, but failed to return. Okay, so she failed to return in time is what the lawyer is saying.
So now there's a warrant of arrest. But
how do you miss your appearance to court? And especially if you know the circumstances that you are first arrested on. I think it's just a little bit careless. I think it's something like, you know what, I'm gonna go to jail, whatever happens, happens. You can't miss, honestly speaking. I mean, what's more important? I don't like jail. You know, like I always say, like things that happen to people in jail rhyme with grape.
You watch too many movies.
I'm not gonna do that.
Orange is the New Black. Do you watch Orange is the New Black?
I have never watched it.
Oh, okay. So what are you talking about? I think you watched it. But anyway, judge orders AFM factions to coexist. High Court Judge Edith Mushore has ordered the warring factions of the Apostolic Faith Mission AFM and Zimbabwe to coexist pending finalization of a Supreme Court appeal filed by one of the protagonists. At the center of the leadership wrangle is Kosam Chiyangwa, who has since filed a Supreme Court appeal challenging a ruling handed down in favor of his rival Asfa Madziri. This was after Madziri's camp had filed an application seeking to execute the High Court ruling pending the hearing at the Supreme Court appeal. Like, it's just filing applications. And you know, okay fine, you know what? Apart from Magaya and PhD, I think AFM is mad to the headlines for all the wrong reasons in the past few years. Remember, they were on radio, they were on Star FM, they were on Radio Zimbabwe, and they were also in the papers for, I don't know, some feud, some beef they were having at the Waterfalls Church, and they would have every Sunday service with police at the church. So I think, I don't know what's going on with the AFM, but Isharum Bad City, God bless you.
Army takes over hospitals is another story from the Daily News, and it reads, the Army Medical Corps has been deployed to mitigate the situation in hospitals where doctors have completely withdrawn their services, demanding the release of abducted Zimbabwe Hospital Doctors Association acting president Peter Mugabe and salary adjustments. Mugabe was seized from his home in the dead of night last weekend, and doctors have since embarked on a full-blown strike, saying they would only go back to work upon his return. So I think this is something that we have been seeing even with the marches, even from in Blawayo, you know. Is doctors are saying that, you know what, you guys, whoever did this, third force, whoever did it, just return the man. Okay, so there are two issues: the salary issue and Dr. Makumbe's
there's the salary, it's three actually. There's the salary issue, better working conditions.
Yeah.
Then the return of Dr. Peter.
Yeah, but it's like the major is the return of Dr. Peter, yeah.
They're saying no Peter, no work.
Yeah.
Treasury lists 3.4 million to MDC. Treasury has released 3.4 million to the opposition MDC under the Political Parties Finance Act. The money was released 2 weeks ago following months of bickering with the opposition party, accusing the government of withholding the funds to sabotage its activities. MDC Treasurer General David Coulthard confirmed the development.
Was it bickering though? Because like, alright, I think, you know what, if someone is entitled, but I also understand the position that the government was in. They were saying that it's not a priority to give, you know, opposition parties their money. But I think right now we are in a better position to give opposition parties their money. But that's a good thing. So now we will not hear anything from the opposition that the government is trying to sabotage them. So moving on to the news day, pressure piles over missing doctor. The Southern Africa Human Rights Defenders Network has called on the government to guarantee the safety and security of Zimbabwe Hospital Doctors Association acting president Peter Mugabe, who was allegedly abducted by suspected state security agents on Saturday night to ensure his immediate release. Mugabe, who was abducted by three masked men from his Budiriro home at the weekend, has been leading an industrial job action by junior doctors nationwide over poor salaries and working conditions.
And the other side of the story is that he voluntarily left the house. Like, I don't know.
Okay. So, I have a couple of questions.
He simply left the house.
Yeah, there's a memo. You remember the story that we read yesterday? There's a memo that is saying that he went to an all-night prayer. But my question is, if he went to an all-night prayer, it's an all-night prayer. It ends in the morning. You're actually supposed to go back to your house. So where are you? Besides, fine, let's just say it was just a statement. He didn't actually go to an all-night. He went somewhere else. He is bound to come back, right?
If he wants.
Okay.
A very good morning to you, Emmanuel. A very good morning to Budget. Emmanuel is saying ZANU government has no vision about building the country. He's saying, these guys are ridiculous. Lawyers are there to thwart this Tabita issue. And commenting on the army cops taking over the hospitals, he says, Kiki, army has no clue on hospital issues, command health, and he puts laughing emojis. Budget Shibe says, what's up, guys? A very good morning to you, and thank you for joining us. On the news day, there's a headline which reads, Mugabe's son-in-law acquitted. The late former president Robert Mugabe's son-in-law Simba Chikore has been acquitted at the Harare Magistrates Court after a High Court judge threw away the lower court's verdict to dismiss his application for discharge at the close of the state's case. Chikore was Zim Airways chief executive at the time, was accused of unlawful detention of former Zim Airways legal head Bertha Zakeyo after she had been dismissed from work. Chikore is husband to the late president's daughter Bona and was charged together with the safeguard security member Simbarashe Mutimbe. The pair's application for discharge at the close of the state's case was dismissed by Magistrate Victoria Mashamba, saying the state failed to prove a prima facie case against them. So the two Simbaris have been acquitted.
ZANU-PF moves to seal Zivu's fate. And the story reads, ZANU-PF Masvingo Provincial Executive is moving to seal the fate of embattled Chivi South MP Kila Zivu, despite the party's National Disciplinary Committee, headed by Chairperson Opam Chinguri, still to hear his appeal against expulsion. Members of the provincial executive, headed by Komiza Jevas Masota, yesterday met villagers, traditional healers, war veterans, war collaborators, councillors, and ZANU-PF structures at Madzivire Primary School in Gundu, where they were instructed to stop associating with development initiatives. So as you know, Kila Zivu is about to be expelled because of a comment that he made about the First Lady and the wife of MDC President Nelson Chamisa. So
I'm still on that.
still not, bruh. Yeah.
Ex-leader's body expected in Harare.
What?
Ex-leader's body expected in.
Okay.
The body of the country's founding father and national hero, former President Robert Mugabe, is expected in Harare today in the afternoon, family spokesperson Mr. Leo Mugabe said yesterday. The body was initially set to be airlifted from Comrade Mugabe's Kutama village to Harare yesterday, but the program changed. So yeah, the body of the late founding father of Zimbabwe will be expected in the country. Is expected in the country, in the capital today.
Yeah. ANC Mbeki honor Mugabe at SA Memorial. The African National Congress ANC yesterday held a memorial service for former President Robert Mugabe in KwaZulu-Natal and described him as an African statesman who played a key role in the liberation of Zimbabwe and South Africa. Speaking at Durban City Hall yesterday, former South African President Thabo Mbeki said the late Comrade Mugabe's contribution to the liberation of the African people will never be forgotten. Comrade Mbeki, who was the guest speaker at the memorial service, said he had kept contact with Comrade Mugabe while he was hospitalized in Singapore.
And still back to the Herald. Harare Bulawayo restructuring complete by December. ZANU-PF expects the Bulawayo and Harare restructuring exercise to be completed before the 2019 party's annual conference to be hosted by Mashonaland East Province Political Commissar Comrade Victor Matemadanda has said. In an interview with the Herald yesterday, Comrade Matemadanda said the restructuring of Bulawayo and Harare was underway.
Look at him. Matemadanda. I've never seen him before. Yeah?
You've only heard the name Matemadanda.
I know him and I see him like on the paper, but I really wish I would also do an interview.
You want to have an interview with Matemadanda?
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want to.
Just?
Yeah, like really bad. Okay. So moving on. I don't exactly know what to say right now. But okay, so there was a story that I saw in the Herald today. It was a little bit funny. So there's a man in Chitungwiza, guys, who named his child after the former president, the former late President Robert Mugabe. It's insane, right?
There's a what?
There's a man in Chitungwiza. Yeah. He like named his child after Robert Gabriel Mugabe.
Okay.
I don't know why I said that, but anyway, RBZ introduces US dollar savings bond. That's the Herald business. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has bought to the market a United States dollar-dominated savings bond with an interest rate of 7.5% per annum to promote a savings culture among Zimbabweans. With inflation, I'm sorry, what?
Why are you laughing?
No, honestly, they want us to save.
Yes.
With what?
Well, when you get your RTGS into your account, then you go to the street and then you buy US dollars and then you save them in your FCA.
Are you serious?
Basically, that's what they're trying to say. You should see your face right now.
No, I'm disturbed. Like,
Okay,
really
and
largely
also,
disturbed.
what's been trending, before we got to an online site, there's also what's been trending from the cabinet, whereby the cabinet has put out the minimum wage
Yeah.
for the
For
the gardeners,
housekeepers.
the housekeepers,
And
the baby minders,
yes.
and I just
And
think
the caregivers as well.
the caregivers,
Yeah.
and I just think
It's ridiculous.
At least she said it for me. You won't quote me.
No, it's ridiculous. You guys,
It's like $160 for the gardener.
Yeah. You know what
And
I want right now?
179 for the 160 for the gardener, 179 for the caregiver, for the childminder, $168.48 for the housekeeper. A disabled minder with a Red Cross certificate or equivalent gets $189.70, and workers in unclassified operations $338. The cabinet further approved the following rates and terms of allowances for domestic workers were not accommodated at their workplaces. But there have been outrage and comments from the majority of Zimbabweans, especially on Twitter, saying it's just ridiculous, and many people are shocked that actually a whole cabinet with whole women
And
whole men,
Yes.
seats.
And say, you know what, a gardener is going to get 160.
Then another whole person gets to type it, and another whole ministry gets to post it.
I know.
Ah,
And,
Zimbabwe.
and then so this is a gardener with kids that go to school, and these kids gonna wanna, you know.
They want to eat, they want to wear uniform. Anyway, we will not dwell on that. Moving on to our site, that is Technomac, www.technomac.co.zw. We got Stanbic launches incubator hub.
And also what you can find on Technomag is the new tariff reviews by Net1, which is really, really interesting to say the least. Yeah.
And also what you can find on Technomag is a comparison of the Econet and the Net1 daily data bundles. As we all know that Econet is the largest mobile network by subscriber base, and Net1 is the second second biggest mobile network according to subscriber base. So
Of course, we didn't include Telesa on this one because we felt they haven't reviewed, so they remain the cheapest, however. But still, just expect next week, right about Friday.
What's ridiculous? What's ridiculous is how fuel goes up and data goes up. Fuel goes up, data goes up.
It's
like every week we're writing stories of the reviews in those those sectors.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's Zimbabwe for you. Do we still have anything cool?
No, I'm afraid not. I think we are done.
Okay. On TechMag TV, we have the nurses, the health technicians, and also pharmacists join doctors' strike. And they're saying that, you know what, if Peter is not back, Dr. Peter Magombe is not back, then they are not going back to work. And this was in a letter that was written to the Minister of Health and Childcare and signed by the Apex Council. So the Apex Council is actually a council which comprises of a whole lot of people, namely a few of them are like the Zimbabwe Hospital Doctors Association, which Peter Magombe was acting president of, the Pharmacists Union, the health technicians, and a whole lot more. So it's literally like the health sector is a sort of standstill.
Okay.
That's it. Everyone is done in the health sector. They're done. So that is it from us at TechMag TV. Please watch us again. Join us again tomorrow morning with morning news. So from myself, Marvelous Chibagiri, and my beautiful co-host and the crew behind the scenes, we have to deal with us every day of their life. It's goodbye for now. Have a blessed one.